getting fame almost cripples you, especially when you get it too early, right? When you're still in the process, because fame and notoriety makes you not do what needs to be done to get to that next level, right? So say I need to be out there selling shirts or selling CDs or selling something that will help my business. The minute they put me on Breakfast Club, I think I can't stand out there and sell that no more. Ain't no way right? So it cripples you. It's like it says, damn, okay, now I'm too big to do that. Well, you have to do that to get there.
All right, guys, welcome back. EYL. This is the battle of the monologues.
Oh man, I shall be the referee, I guess.
Yeah. And that's actually the first time that I met Loon. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
It might have been 3.
3 years ago, right?
2 or 3.
I think it might have been like, yeah.
2, gotta be 2. It wasn't last year.
It might have been 3. It might have been 3. It was at Revolt Summit.
3 years ago, he was in the pandemic.
So yeah. But it was the first Revolt.
I think it might have been 3 because that's when we did Invest Fest the first year.
2021
was like right after that.
Yeah, so 2022 years, 2021.
Damn.
Because we did first year. Yeah, that's crazy.
God.
Because I remember you came to New York.
Yeah. But so we met at Revolt Summit, and I think you was just starting out at that time, right?
Right, man. I was down there chasing it. I'm like, yo, man, I'm doing this thing. It was 1 million people now.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's always that one, though.
That's a fact. But he introduced himself to me, and then we just stayed in touch, stayed in communication, and been watching his growth. It's Up There podcast, tearing up the game, interview people like Little Baby.
Classic.
19 Keys.
Classic.
Alicia.
Classic.
Just had Rory and Maul on different times.
Yep.
That was dope. You had Brandon Marshall on. I saw you do a lot of like interesting conversations because you had the Brandon Marshall one on, then you had next week, what'd you have? Fred Taylor. Shout out to Fred. Yeah, I had Fred Taylor. So it was kind of like a different dynamic of it. But somebody that I've been watching consistently, and very impressed with the growth.
176 episodes?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Nah. Especially when a lot of them is solo.
That's the other part. I don't know if you was going there, but like, yes, you're doing interviews with people, but there's a lot of episodes where it's just you. Right. And coming from this space, and I got Rashad and he has me. That's not easy, man.
Nah, everything in this space is energy based, right? So even when you look at Drink Champs, when you look at podcasts, let's just use Drink Champs for an example. Shout out Nori Drink Champs, but that whole vibration in there, the clapping, it just loosens you. It just, when you turn the mic on and you got to just be like, yo, let's kick it. It's a different beast.
Yeah, it's just you in that room.
Different beast.
For sure. So we're going to talk about it's always good whenever we get fellow podcasters on the show. We've interviewed David Shands and a bunch of other people. Ash Cash, Joe Button.
Yep.
Who else did we interview in the podcast space? Wallow a while back.
Yep.
So it's always good.
Mandy.
Shout out to Mandy B. It's always good to get different perspectives as far as this industry, new age media, changing the game, creating a business, learning, infrastructure challenges, situations that come arise. I'm excited to have this conversation. Thank you for joining us, brother. Appreciate it.
And another part I think is dope is that we had started Earn Your Leisure, and we get to kick it with people who have actually watched our journey, and they get to reflect and say, I watched y'all do this, so I'm doing this. So those conversations are always dope because we're so far thinking ahead and looking forward that we're not looking at some of the trailblazing things that we're doing, and people are taking and implementing on their own. So these are dope conversations.
Man, for sure. And it's only been 2 years, man. That's just crazy to me. Even with y'all, what y'all did with Invest Fest, just like in a couple of years, things can change. It's important people understand that. In a couple of years, things can change, bro.
No, that's a fact. So, all right. So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
You from Nashville, Tennessee.
Facts.
Shout out to Slim and Huskies.
Shout out to Demo, Slim and Huskies.
Our guys.
They smoking that.
Yeah. Those are our guys.
Shout out to them, man.
So they said that you was the same way since high school. Like they said, you always been the same way. So when did you coming up? How did you get this idea? Okay, I want to start a show, and everybody wants to start a show now. Everybody wants to do a podcast now. Very few people are successful. You are one of the few people that's actually been able to break through and become successful. How does that start, and how do you get to the point you are now?
For me, bro, when I looked at podcasting, number one, I'm a fan of information, and so I've always made myself go after wherever the information is at, whether that be books, whether that be podcasts, whatever element you find the reasons why things work. Like I was just talking to you about, you got to learn why things work, not how to get involved with things. And so I was trying to figure out how to get involved with a different side of society, just being from the street, just being from the other side. And so what I knew about podcasting was, number one, I felt like none of these guys can do it better than me. That's number one. That's number one.
What gave you that confidence?
Just from being in the street, just being around pimps and players. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The guys I've been around just all my life. Man, my uncle's a player. I'm a player. We just, so it's natural.
Number one requirement.
Yeah,
I'm a
man.
player.
You gotta talk that talk.
Yeah.
For sure. It's the cloth. It's the texture, right? Because what I do is ceremony. It ain't podcast. You know what I'm saying? But when I told myself that, and I actually believed it, that's step two. You got to believe that. Just saying it ain't enough. You know what I mean? So I believed that, and I told myself, if I get nothing from podcasting, the number one thing I can do is, let's say I want to go into the textile industry. I interview people that is in the textile industry to learn that business, or I learn things from it. It becomes a tool for me.
It's a great it's a great networking tool.
Yeah, if it never becomes nothing else, it's a networking tool. And the other side of that is, when people came to me asking for things, I never just give you money, or it's always a tongue lashing.
You giving them game on the street.
Yeah, I'm always saying, yo, man, you ain't put that together. You still doing that. You ain't figured out you bumping your head up against the wall. I'm putting game down as they picking money up. And so I'm saying, man, I might as well get in the podcast, and it's a lane for me. And I took it serious. And I'm ever since then.
So what's the first step? So you because you in a unique situation where you're in Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
A lot of podcasts is coming out of New York area. When you got Earn Your Leisure, you got Mandy and Weezy, you got Joe Button. It's a variety of different people.
Right.
But then a lot of podcasters is also in Miami, Brandon Marshall and Drink Champs and them. And then Atlanta, of course, because Atlanta is Atlanta.
And LA got a couple out there.
Who's LA have?
Who was the show? We did the show, Good Moms. What was the joint?
Oh yeah, Good Moms, Bad Choices.
Bad Choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Cam was in New York at first. Now he's in Vegas, but he started in Jersey.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this to say, like, Gilly and Wilder, they're unique because they're in Philly.
Right.
So that's out the way. Nobody's going to Philly, right? You're even more out the way as far as Nashville. So when you first starting out, how do you get enough momentum from Nashville to make it? Because that's something that I think could be beneficial, because most people are not in New York or Atlanta. Most people are in, Minnesota and Cleveland, Ohio, and different parts of the country. Yeah. So they might be frustrated because they feel like geographically they're not in a position. It's like music, right? They're not in a position where they can touch the stars, the celebrities, stuff like that.
And you know what I think it was for me was, when I first started, again, I studied the game. So I said, nobody's coming to help you. You're on an island. And so when you go into a job site, I say this all the time, when you go into a job site, you carry every tool you need when you don't expect a coworker to be there. Right? If you got your tool belt and you saying, I'm going to do this kitchen, ain't nobody coming, you prepare different. You pack differently when you travel alone. And so when I came up, that's the first step. I had to literally believe that I can speak on things from this perspective, and it'll mean something in a game that doesn't live close to where I'm at, And then my relationships, I leaned on, but that's late on. I think I used social media.
With no guest. You had no guest.
Yeah, I'm no guest for 100 and something.
Well, that's extremely important to highlight too, because so like Market Mondays is a show where, shout out to Ian, we don't have guests that often. That's better, because when you rely on guests, you got to be a booking agent.
Right.
If somebody doesn't like this person, they're not going to watch the show.
Right. Yeah.
But you want people to tune in for you. No matter who's on, they going to they want to hear your voice.
Yeah. Even the other aspect is that sometimes they might feel intimidated by coming on your show because they know the level of thought and processing that's going to take from the questioning. Right. So it's like, I may not want to do that.
Right. And you deal with that. And so again, when I don't know, man, I believe I credit it to understanding the game, because I wouldn't been able to speak with, no matter, here's something, a common theme I get. and maybe this is why we're like working through this in real time, because I never thought about that. But a common theme I get is people can feel authenticity when I speak, right? And so I think there's something there. There's something there with people saying, yo, I don't know where that nigga coming from, but what he's saying is ringing true. It's vibrating. And I don't know, man. It just took off. I really can't say. I do know I knew enough to be interested enough.
Well, there's a learning point here. There's some game to be provided here. You didn't have guests. You did it yourself. I would like for you to kind of even break down how you even create monologues to create a hour. That's not easy to create an hour-long show by yourself. Even Market Mondays, we had 3 people. Because a lot of people, like, I got a lot of friends that starting podcasting. Everybody's starting their podcast with guests. But when you just starting out, your guest is going to be like your local homeboy.
Yeah.
Probably people on a broad scale don't really care about that,
Right.
that type of,
Right.
but
Content.
you broke the mold by doing it just by yourself.
Solo.
And now people's like listening and identifying to that.
And you know what's crazy, bro? I freestyled the whole shit.
Just winging it.
Really?
I freestyle. I never wrote nothing.
Just topics? Like you just had topics?
I had topics, of course,
Yeah.
right? And then I may have clips. So I may have clips, and maybe this is game for some people. So I may have a clip that I want to speak about, a timestamp in that clip. But as far as a topic, it may just say, like, say we're dealing with a relationship or somebody or something going on in business, or we're dealing with a contract dispute or skipping Shannon or something like that. I'll just take that topic and look at it and say, in real time, like, do you think these 2-hour podcasts are really 8 hours long? Because I'm in real time watching this shit and like reacting.
Commentating.
Yeah. And being like, yo, man. And then sometimes I'll start at skipping Shannon and it take me way over to, you know, not going in the trick bag and elevating your business and the discovery process of a podcast. And I'm way over there based on this, right?
Yeah.
So it's really no method to it. I think I'm high consumption. I think what makes me dangerous in this space is that I'm very high consumption, meaning I'm never listening to anything but books, podcasts. Like all day, I got something in my ear. I sleep with something in my ear. Books. I sleep with certain things just going on all day, and I think that may be what.
So the geographical thing is one piece of it, and picking up the mic is one piece of it. But the other part is like there's somebody that has to get behind that camera. Most times when we've seen you, it's only been you.
Yeah.
And so are you the person that's also producing it?
Yeah.
And editing it?
Yeah.
That's all you from day one.
Yeah.
Talk about that, man.
Yeah, like you got to believe in something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to believe in something. Like for me, I was putting myself in a position to think like, I can do this. And I'm telling you, if I didn't believe it, I wouldn't have done it. And I transitioned from the streets with enough money to maintain, to be able to focus on this for 18 months and pay my bills and take care of my family. That's the piece that I think most men coming from any perspective don't have the financial stability to land themselves in a position to be able to just say, I'm parting for 18 months. I want to see what happened.
Okay.
Right. And that's without the information of knowing how to talk or studying anything. That's just saying I got 18 months to dedicate even to my business. And I think the dedication is what people see shining bright. It's the literally dedication of, oh, don't nobody work. Because here's the thing. I did start off paying everybody. Here's a piece of it. I also started off with 2 co-hosts. So I started off with 2 girls. Shout out Jade and Daisha in my town. And it became a heavy lift for me. Because at the time, podcasting, this was 4 years before I started a podcast. So again, I was earlier. I was the same time Joe and them started, the same time Charlamagne and them started, I was there. I just stopped it because I did about 10 episodes and I said, yo, it's just heavy lifting, right? It's just, it costing me too much. I got to rent the building. I got to get somebody to come and record it. My 2 co-hosts, they really don't know what we doing. So they just kind of showing up. I'm feeding them topics and feeding them direction as to what to show. So it just became almost like a burden. And so I said, you know what? I'm tapping out of that. Mm-hmm. And so when the pandemic hit, is when I said, yo, crank that back up. Let's crank up full speed. Let's go. And even before the pandemic, but the pandemic is when I really you start seeing a lot of clips, and you start seeing, because you got to even see how many phases my brand has went through. I used to use Law and Order.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So you got to think how I'm keeping even the audience rolling with me.
We know that sound.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's one of them. So it's just all of those things creatively made it cut through.
Yeah.
Because no podcast was doing no fucking, what was that? You know, first of all, talking like me, and then Law and Order noise out of nowhere, and he spitting some shit though.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I think it resonated with the people, Brand, but I don't know, man. These are, I really can't say. I believed, man.
God's
you know,
plan.
I believed.
So you just taught yourself how to use camera, how to use a microphone?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm always searching for information. Again, I'm learning processes. So when I was hiring the dudes, I was peeping game. The same way I told y'all, every building I go in, I come out with something. Because I don't play the game on easy mode. Put this on hardcore and let's see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? So I got game from guys who set my cameras up. Here's where I felt, see, I come from the street, so I'm cost effective. I'm always cost sheet. What is this costing and why? So when I seen that, because again, even the cameramen wasn't interested in podcasting at that time. So they would come and put the cameras up and you will see them over there kind of. So you don't think I'm peeping that?
It's checking
As a
for the red
street
light.
dude, I'm saying, damn, so it must not be nothing for us to get this going. This is set it and forget it. This is QVC. This is set it and forget it. So I said to myself.
They just checking for the red light. Is it on?
Yeah. So I said to myself, oh. So because this is another thing you deal with. There's levels to this for young creators, bro. Another thing you're going to run into, this is why you need to know what titles and job descriptions to give the people you pay. People will trick you in the producer tag when they'll just come set your cameras up. That's not my producer.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Right? So,
Talk to 'em.
So what happens is I have guys in there that have set my cameras up, and I'm saying, oh, man, I'm paying him like a producer. I'm paying him like he's doing a hell of a thing. And I said, oh, he don't know that he ain't a producer. They done tricked him. So this trickery go levels.
A lot of levels to it.
Right?
That's a
So
fact.
now from the bottom, I'm saying, hold on. The number one thing you do when you ain't got a boatload of money is you better figure out where you spending that money.
That's a fact.
I can't waste this money on you. I paying you to sit over. Something I can do that. Something he doing, I can't pay you to do that. And if I'd have seen him over there all day, he got the willy. If all day he got the willy like it's here, I say, now I got to pay him.
If you got the slate.
Right? But if he said that and he leave, that ain't worth $2,000 every week for me.
That's a fact.
So even that, right? And young creators got to know that there's a time to spend money, but there's also a black hole in this industry. You can just pour money in this industry with no benefits.
That's a fact.
No effects for that money will come. And so I think that as I knew that so many people from the street, even being, I've did things in rap where I've lost money. I said, oh, it's a black hole in the industry. I got partners that got features from high-priced rappers that ain't went nowhere.
That's a fact.
So I'm peeping game as I'm living life.
Let's go there then, right? Because everything, even when you're doing commentary and you have these monologues, it always relates back to business.
Yes.
Because even in the title of the show, you're a businessman.
Yes.
But you didn't go to business school.
Right.
So you always talk about the streets to streets.
Yes.
So talk about that relationship between the streets and what has made you the businessman and have the business acumen that you have now.
Well, when I use the streets, and I'm glad you asked me that because it's important that my corporate partners and people that view me understand this. When I use the term streets, I'm using that synonymous with culture. And the only reason I'm doing that is because the culture tend to forget about the streets when it's time to benefit somebody, when it's time to get paid, when it's time to do anything other than protect. The streets ain't mentioned. So I'm no longer involved in the streets. But I always say the streets because I want those guys that are living there to understand that there is a door outside of that. You can be the king of the jungle, but there's life outside of the jungle. Mm-hmm. There's a world outside of that. And so sometimes it's really me dog whistling back to the ghetto, way up here at the top of the mountain, talking about the streets when ain't now one of these niggas gonna say nothing about the streets. They don't give a damn about the streets up through here, brother. They don't give a damn, and I don't gotta give a damn about the streets. I'm literally dog whistling for dudes I know following me, like most of these guys ahead of me didn't do. And this is why I'm personally involved with the way that the game is being handled. Because there's people ahead of me that don't understand that they're leading the race. But that don't mean winning the race. They've confused that. So because they're leading the race, they think they winning the race, right? And so I'm sitting back saying, let's not do that. Now, where were we at? I'm sorry, I go off. That's what.
There goes the passion.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it back. Now we were talking about the business, right? Because these are things that even when we started the show, it was let's just add value. We figured out the business part, right, as we went along. You're figuring it out as well, right? You started by yourself. Well, you started with partners. You realize this is not the most beneficial from a financial standpoint. I got to pay for the studio. I'm paying for this guy. Let's stop this.
But when you call those partners, let's correct that also for the young creator.
Co-hosts.
Co-hosts is different than partners. We see people smearing those
I don't want to trick nobody.
Hold on.
I don't want to trick nobody.
We see people smearing those lines now. Co-hosts and partners.
You're right. You're right. I don't want to trick anybody thinking they're your partner.
Right.
They're your co-host.
Yeah.
But you revamp it.
Right.
A better business acumen at that time. We reshape it, retool it. How'd you get to that point?
Okay, so again, and I spoke to using streets, but the business side of it was for me watching the business and being a businessman. If you come from the streets and you really operated in the streets, you access a certain set of skills, which is business. It just ain't got the tag on it. It just didn't come with the diploma. But if you really dealing with supply and demand and there's certain things involved that you have a caseload that you got to handle. And if you controlling a neighborhood, just think about that. If you controlling a neighborhood, you can control a business. And so I controlled my neighborhood. I controlled everything around me. So I knew I could control a business and I started to watch and I translated the skills. The streets is the only place where you get a bunch of skills you can't translate, but the business side of it can translate, right? The tough shit don't translate. It's a lot of it you got to drop off. It's dead weight. If you travel with it, it slow you down, right? But there's certain things translate, and I think that the business side of the streets translated for me, and I watch these guys. I know everything about this culture. I know who did the deals. I know how much the deals were for. I know when Rogan started, how he got his deal, who was his editors, who was his producer, where he recorded. I know what Button started, Charlemagne. I know what this entire game. That's why I don't know why they playing with me. Because I know that you don't make it this far without the information, brother. And so I think they just really don't understand it. But hey, I think the business side comes from number one, paying attention. Youngsters, if you don't know nothing else out there, man, you can pick up game because game is being executed. Y'all just executed game at Invest Fest. If you didn't pick nothing up from that, and if you went there just literally and got nothing, if people are alleged and they go to something like that and get nothing, I say shame on you. If nothing else, is game being executed from the highest level. I've took a brand and how we not so understand that, right? It's understanding in how processes work to even see InvestFest get pulled off. It's process information in there. You dig what I'm saying? So again, I'm getting something out of every transaction. Nothing is left on the board.
So, all right. So you get up and running. You figure out the monologue. You tape it yourself. Now you getting traction. You figure out how to edit videos on social media, and you become popping on social media. Now the next level is to start to actually make money from the podcast, right? So I know you with Black Effect now, but when did you start to figure that out as far as like ads and like because a lot of people have successful shows, but they still haven't. They don't know how to make money from it. Right. That's the part that they don't tell you about either.
Right. Nobody's gonna tell you that it's about packaging. This is why you see me scream from the top of the mountain that some of the most powerful people in this space ain't doing business. It's because I can look at it and see there's no business surrounding a lot of these streams, a lot of these things that we're seeing. The business that I know to be in this space, how you execute business, how you do ads. There's only a certain amount of business even available in this space.
That's a fact. Or you got to be creative and think outside the box.
Right. And so when I see it, I'm saying, yo, we have confused noise with business. attention with business. We have confused these two. And so I'm executing business from day one. And so all of my partnerships respect that. A lot of people meet the audience before they meet the business. You see what I'm saying? That ain't how I done. I watched the business first. When I took off, that's why I was speaking from the perspective of knowing the business. Hey, I think that deal is over. They moving funny. Certain things were said. I think if you use context clues, Spotify doesn't do this. If that doesn't happen, Apple doesn't make that move. Right? It's the business that I'm seeing happening in the market. The same way with the stock market. You see certain things. Oh, they about to pass this law. That stock is going to be affected by that. They about to get funding for this grant or this funding. That stock will be. I'm watching the game. And so I think that if I never done that, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did. You know what I mean? The monologue piece of it, I want to master because I think I have something there. I think I have something I can really harness there.
No, your monologues are excellent.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do monologues, so I appreciate the monologues.
Appreciate that.
But your monologues, I do monologues like once every other week.
Yeah.
You do monologues all the time.
All the time.
So it's harder to even Mike, our partner Mike, he said something, he's like, you should do like a bunch of I told him, like, I got to be inspired. I can't just come and just do 60 monologues for 1 minute. Like it's actually art. Like I have to be inspired. I have to like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not easy to do.
Yeah, because you got to pull from something. And I think here's the thing also that scares me, or not even scares me, that I'm prepared for, that I see, that I'm watching, is that because I haven't, some people look at what I do and say, yo, you able to freestyle that shit. That's some of the best shit I've ever seen. I say, if I don't figure out how to structure that shit, it may disappear. Because anything you don't know how to do, right? You need to know how to make that chicken that way just in case. You never know when you wake up tomorrow and say, man, I can't catch it.
Writer's block.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking, bro, because like you say, it's the inspired piece. And I'm moving so fast, I ain't even been able to celebrate certain things. Like certain people, man, if they went as far as I done that quick, they having parties and, man, we head down hustling.
Yeah. So let's talk about the piece that, especially when people come into the space, the money. They think that there's tons of money to be made here. They don't understand how it works. They got to understand CPMs, RPMs, choosing brands to work with, choosing which brands not to work with, sometimes turning down money because it just doesn't fit with your brand. And the other part is from the ad agency, when you get paid. Because I feel like in this space, people don't understand. They think like somebody says, oh, they're going to give you $10,000 and you're going to get that Monday. No, it's like net 90 or maybe net 120 and even after that.
Yeah.
So it gets to a space where you might forget that you did the ad 4 months ago. So talk about that and learning that process.
Also, let me go back to what you asked. If I didn't have enough money, I wouldn't have made it. Because again, you don't bump into the money by coincidence and ain't nobody telling you. You literally got to carve out, how the fuck do I make money from this audience? That's why so many people got audiences that don't make money from it. But for me, I attach brands to mine, right? We speak about it, these ad things, these CPMs. Right now, I got a big deal on the table now for a couple gambling companies that want in. And it's like I'm trying to comb through how that works. Don't know if y'all interested in that or if y'all ever done that. But somebody give you a check, man. You know, I was always like that when I first came in, even with Revolt. It's like, hey, yo, what that money? Yo, that money y'all was saying, like, we agreed to a number. What going on with that number we agreed to? I don't see that number. Like,
net now.
Yeah, they like, nah, bro, you got to go through certain channels. Even with iHeart, it's certain channels that things got to go through. But as far as ads, man, you got to have audience first. Some people, you got to have audience or you got to have faith in the agency. Somebody that handles the ad got to believe that this is going to do numbers anyway. And that's the built-in fan base I always talk about. That people like us had to come in and carve out a space without that built-in fan base from rap. We didn't drag anything over from rap, drag anything over from the NBA, NFL. We stood up when nobody knew that face and said, if I don't be influential, marketable, and truthful, it don't do what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean? And we had to carve that out. I think that's something people need to really appreciate.
It's not a lot of people in the space that have, if you look at the top successful shows, that black shows, Gilly was a rapper. Joe Budden was a rapper. Cam and Mace was a rapper. All of the sports shows, those guys played in the NFL.
All the Smoke, NBA.
Drink Champs, Nori was a rapper.
Yeah.
And then also, here's another thing on top of that. We didn't even come in at an opportune time, right? Let's say we came in when the internet first popped off and we got the audience familiar with, yo, that's the people that talk about that. It was crowded in the paint. I come in and dunked on these boys. It was crowded in the paint, homeboy. I went and posted up on these folks. And man, just get the ball down here. They talking about it. They say 3 dudes, get the ball. I got these boys. You know, and that's the thing I think. That's the thing I think people don't get is that that's the same thing y'all did. Nobody came with nobody knowing us to say.
And a whole different industry that they didn't think would be possible for our community.
Well, let's talk about some podcast stuff, shall we? So I said this before, and I agree with it, that there's not enough communication between podcasters in the space, especially black podcasters. That's the only people, I don't really know too many white podcasters, so I can't speak on it. But this is hindering the growth of podcasters. It might be small clicks, like if you know somebody, if you're a rapper and your rapper friend comes in, you're gonna give them some information, but the average kid off the street is not provided that information. Why is there a lack of communication amongst podcasters? And it seems to be a lot of friction a lot of times between podcasters. Why is that?
For me, I think half of it, and there's a array of things why this is the case. Half of it is the same reason we celebrate some of these guys that drug their audiences over. Some of these guys were starving artists, right? And so when you are someone who
no names on the bullets, but it's okay.
These ain't even shots. I'm saying, listen, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get to the other layers of it. But I do believe that when you get money, you get peaceful, and it take time though. I think that a lot of this culture has been damaged from the rap game. They come in from a lot of that residue from the rap shit. The rap business, the whole all of that rigmarole, the
crab in the barrel, the beat.
They come with that into this space, and they've infiltrated from a psychological perspective. But I think it's space for them, right? I'm not saying that it's not space, but I believe when in this game that people really don't want to see other people win. That's why you see me say certain things, because I don't need the relationships. But I promise you, man, if these guys wanted, I big up Charlemagne, I big up Wallow. They've helped me. QCP, Coach K, Lil Baby. These are guys that help me. But here's the thing I'm noticing as I go up. Some of the information becomes useless.
Like what you mean?
You need new information for new levels. And everybody know when they got the new levels that they needed new information.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need, let me tell people
nobody's telling you at the next level.
Yeah.
So I'll get you to this level, but as I ascend, you have to figure this out yourself.
Or it's not, I maybe don't have the time. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if they know, but I'm recognizing that, okay, some of the game that I'm operating with is outdated for my position. Okay. Right? Again, I just told y'all, you come from being in the Super Bowl, you come from watching the Super Bowl to not being in the Super Bowl. So a lot of the game I got was on the other side of the podcast being what it is. You know what I'm saying? So now I need updated game. The new game I need is the ad game, the live show game, the guest game, how to get booking the guests. Because some people get people, I'm saying, Lord Jesus, I got a podcast. I need some of that access to some of these guys, but I don't call nobody. I don't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? I know if I reach in my phone and call Wallow, call Charlemagne, they'll try. But at the end of the day, I think we do have to come together just a little bit more. But you know, I'm a general, so I deal with everybody that's on business. And I deal with them in the right way. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Let's hash that out. What y'all think?
As far as information,
yeah,
I feel like you get to a point where people are happy for you until you become a threat to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's just human nature. I feel like people want to help. People always want to root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the champion.
Yeah.
Like that's true.
Yeah.
People like Floyd when he was on the come up. Once he became Money Mayweather, now it's a threat. And
so what is the help genuine if it comes that way? Because
if it comes initially,
yeah,
we just don't trust each other. Straight
that's
up,
what it is.
And we don't trust each other.
That's what it is.
And we're not vulnerable enough.
And then it be slick things said. See, here's another thing. You got people playing Dr. Evil, right? So there's little bombs being placed in shit, right? So I might got Earn Your Leisure right here, and I might do some shit that ain't cool with some people that Earn Your Leisure cool with. And then it look funny. Right? It is like, damn, how you let that happen? Like, even with and I'll say this, even with Ish, that's my guy. Me and Ish had a relationship. When my name come up in certain times, I'm saying, damn,
It's awkward.
it's awkward as a motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, for me, right, I'm a certain kind of guy, man. So it's like, your name come up. You seen it when we was backstage at InvestFest. Certain things will say, I'm like, yo, that shit ain't proper, man. That shit ain't cool. That's how I am as an individual. Not that I'm tough, rough, or nothing, but I just feel a certain way when people mishandle things and you bear witness or you even know anything about it and you don't say nothing. But podcasting, like you said, is turning into rap game.
Right. But imagine, like in rap, like we always make this point in sports and athletics, even in entertainment to a certain extent. When somebody signs a deal, you know what they're signing for. You can see it. In this space, it's a guessing game.
It's a guessing
And when we don't trust each other and we're not vulnerable enough to share, it doesn't help anybody.
Is it
right?
lies going around?
Of course. Well, I signed for
mirrors. Nobody really knows.
I signed for 20 million. Or I did for 10 million.
Yeah.
Well, talk about how you structured this deal because I might be coming up to the plate.
Yeah.
Or the other end of the spectrum is that person who's just getting into the space, who's a spectator now trying to get on the playing field, they're taking a deal for 100,000. They're taking a deal for 200,000. And so now the machine is, I can sign 10 of those instead of having one of you.
Right.
Right. So if we share the information, it's better for everybody.
Let's talk about what we think a $20 million deal looks like. How do we structure that?
So the thing about it is, and I feel like it's interesting because we've never heard anybody ever break down their deal before, right?
Exactly.
But we know, I'll just give some general terms that people might not be aware of. So there's like guarantees, minimum guarantees is a term that all podcasters should at the very least be aware of, right? And that's to say, okay, like this is the minimum amount of money that you're definitely going to get paid, right? So if it's like, all right, if you sign and if you sell no ads at all and your show just tanks for some reason,
still get this.
We're going to get you $1 million a year regardless. Right. You can earn up to $2.5 million if you hit these metrics.
Benchmarks.
So if your show does 2 million downloads a month and you do X, Y, and Z and you put 3 episodes out a week, now that's going to help your numbers. So now you can actually earn up to this amount. Now, what I think is going on, because I don't have personal information on this, but I have a strong suspicion that there are 360 deals being offered.
Right? Meaning they eat off any content that's being made.
Or your merch. I need a
merch too.
I need the
merch. I need the touring.
Social media.
I need the social.
Is that a bad deal?
This just depends, right? So I just feel like,
$5 million a year, merch, everything all in. Is that a bad deal?
It depends on who the show is. So if you're doing 10 million,
is that a bad deal for any show?
It depends on who the show.
Let's give a top.
Well, here's why I say it depends on the show, right? If somebody is doing 10 million, let's say 20 million listens a month, right? And you sign that 5 million minimum guarantee, and that might be over 2 years. It could, let's say it's just for one.
Right.
If you look at who they're selling the ads to, they're not selling it to the pizza shop on the corner, right? They're selling it to Fortune 500, big time, right? And so if you look at it, if you break down, and Rashad is saying, if you put out 3 episodes a month, you know how this is structured.
A week,
I'm sorry. When they look at it, they're saying, all right, well, how many ads can we place per episode? Let's look at the 60-minute clip or episode. They're going to put 8 ads on it, right? So you do that 3 times a week, that's 24 ads, right? You do that every month, that's 96. You do that for a year, you're doing over 1,000 spots. Now you take the 5 million and you're like, wait, hold on. How much they really selling them for? Because I can go directly to corporate. Let's use Coca-Cola, we in Atlanta. And Coca-Cola can say, you guys are doing 10 million a month. We'll give you 50,000 an episode.
Will they do that?
Well, the hardest thing to do
now is it a good deal?
The hardest thing to do is
because hold on, let me just finish it because that's just one, right? That's just Coke.
Right.
But what if I go to Chase and they tell me 50?
Right. So now you're making
You see what I'm saying? And I do that.
But do you think that's available? I haven't saw that executed in that way.
So I'm gonna get
Perhaps.
So in terms for the yes, it probably is a good deal because most people aren't gonna make $5 million, right? So yes, that probably is beneficial for most people to sign a deal like that, just from a pure financial standpoint.
Right.
The hardest thing to do is to get close enough to be next to that situation to know what the budget is, to have that relationship.
That's
That's
the
not
deal.
easy.
What though? I saw Wallow contract. I saw that motherfucker.
Congrats to them.
I saw that. Now I'm saying, now that y'all saying that we
Yeah.
did Rap Snacks Summit, but I didn't see the contract. I saw the number though.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the details in regards to, because now that you're saying that, I'm looking and I'm saying, damn, what is the space offering for this?
And that's the thing, and that's the part, and that's the part that it comes with maturity, right? And I guess some people probably got mad when I said this before, but it's not about an individual ego. Everybody has to be more informed so we can all make more money.
What information do we need
So
from them?
so it's like
From
all right,
anybody in the space making money.
you need
white, black, anybody.
You need information and relationships. So it's
Yeah.
it's like X, Y, and Z company.
But okay, let's talk about this before you go there. $5 million a year. Now you talked about the ad side of it, which I think this is gonna get good. You talked about the ad side of it, which I think is a beautiful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is not necessarily relationship based. That's viewership based,
But it's
or
also-
equity or value based. But hold on, here's the key.
Mm-hmm.
What about on the other side is the access to all of the guests that's going to keep that number there? Because if you don't have the access to those guests, then maybe that number drops down.
I'm glad you asked that
But
question.
then also,
Because-
but let me just say something real quick, because this is the first part. Is you said something. You said that's not relationship based. It actually is relationship based because
Coca-Cola to I think they hardcore numbers. I think they'll see some numbers and say, let's, as long as it's not radioactive.
I'm explaining to you why it's relationship based. So you go to X, Y, and Z company, right? It's always a middleman.
Yeah, of course. No. I'm not saying you can just picture yourself.
Listen,
Yeah.
It's a podcast company or it's an advertising agency, right? And they say, okay, we'll give you $30,000 an episode from Coca-Cola for 50 weeks, thinking that's good money, right? And it is good money. Very rarely are you in a position to do a deal directly with Coca-Cola.
So that's what he's saying, then that means it's good.
But that's relationships, right? So now it's like that $30,000 an episode could have potentially be $100,000 an episode.
Not without the access.
Well,
They got bricks in Cali for 10. I can't get out there.
Well, no. Well,
You know
so
what I'm saying?
you ever watch the movie Below?
Yeah.
So what made Boston George different from every other hustler that was?
He went and got it.
He got
But he
the
had a
connect.
relationship before.
He got the
yeah,
connect.
but,
So this- so-
but
so this-
they don't get access
so
to the
this is-
connect
so-
at 20 million.
so this
Do you
is-
get access to the connect at 20
So I'm
million?
gonna tell you, this is the part that even now, like this is the journey that we on, getting to the connect, and
Right.
we've been able to make some
Right.
relationships to get to the connect.
Yes.
But that's the part that we still, as a podcast space for Black people, we're still immature enough to not even fully appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're not even trying to get to the connect.
Yeah,
Right.
We don't even know everything.
here it
So-
is.
but
we don't know
That's
that
it. It's good. It's good game.
we
Good
don't
game. Good
get
game.
but if you study the game, like you've watched.
Yeah.
When I talk to people and they say, well, what was the structure? What made you do? I'm like, I watched Bill Simmons sell his network. This is the
I
reason.
watched Bill. Yeah.
Right?
I
And so
watched that.
most people don't even know who Bill Simmons is.
They ain't got,
But we
they
watched
lost.
him build a network. We didn't even listen to any shows, but we watched it get sold for 200 million.
Yes.
Right?
Didn't even touch us.
We didn't even think about it. Nobody. This guy is a columnist. He's one of the best columnists in the history.
Fire.
Right? He wrote for the Boston Globe. But he created something. He had the value, but he had to connect. Now, the other part that you said, well, they give you access to guests. But you know, and we know that when you go there, there is no access to
It
guests.
may not be in this world, but if you operate, let's say I have Red Bull, let's say I do some sort of shit with Red Bull, or let's even go better. Let's say that It's Up There podcast, Black Effect, do a partnership with Rolling Loud to where I do a live podcast at every Rolling Loud, right? Access to those guests, meaning as they come off stage, whatever's happening, this is we kick some real game this is high level shit. I won't have access to that without Rolling Loud
So
putting that together.
in that scenario of access, are you a partner or are you talent?
Again, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So again, that's us still doing we may be dealing with misrepresentation in some ways, right? We may be saying, I got to connect, but I might not got the connect that y'all looking for.
But look, this so it's interesting. Cam and Mason, I'll be interested to know their deal.
Right.
Because they kind of straight to the faucet where their ads on their show are only for that gambling company. I forgot what it's called. It's a gambling company, right? So they work the deal out directly with them. Where most companies is like, I'm gonna work an advertising deal out for you, and then you're gonna be doing Mountain Dew, you're gonna be doing Sprite, you're gonna be doing all kinds of different
that's
stuff.
relationship based, and they keep that doors locked on that. When we deal with gambling, that industry is booming. If you pay attention to the game, they have attached themselves to live streaming in a way that is I can't even fathom. They're passing out money hand over fist.
But then also, exactly. So there's different levels. It's like a video game, right? It's like Mario Brothers. Like you get to one level, but that's not the highest level.
Right.
So, all right, these are the different levels to the situation. As a Black creator, right, the first level that you have to go through is an advertising agency,
Right.
or a podcast network, right? Let's say that you're able to eliminate that and you're able to go directly to the source. And you get somebody at Microsoft, right? Now you've reached a level that 95% of people haven't reached.
Right.
Yep.
So now you can have direct communication. But guess what? That's not the level, because
Even direct communication ain't the level.
because what they have for Black people is a thing called a diversity and inclusion program, right? So now you're going to talk to a Black woman who's going to tell you a budget. Microsoft's budget might be, I'm just using them, it could be any company. Their budget might be $100 million. And they have $5 million for Black creatives, Black initiatives, Black voices. So now you fighting for a budget, $5 million spread out throughout every single podcast. So now you try and get 50,000, 100,000, 25,000. How do you get to the highest level and talk to the dude that's really in position, that's controlling the whole budget?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I get that. That's what I'm saying.
But that's all relationships. That's all relationships.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. So, and I'm saying that in Black podcasting, I don't need, do you think who has those kind of,
Nobody has reached that level yet. I don't think.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. You would have to go through like a Maverick Carter
type,
right?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
now they can plug you right with some,
Right.
They're in a situation where Spring Hill is talking directly to it, or even a Revolt probably have relationships where they talking directly to it. They still might be in pocket of Black initiative program, but
Walmart and stuff like that.
So Junior Bridgman, perfect example.
Yeah.
We're sitting down at InvestFest and we're talking about, how we can scale this. And I'm giving him a couple of companies that I think would be perfect fits. I'll call the CEO tomorrow. Direct access.
Yeah.
Because he has a direct access.
And that's the thing. But how do we get the spending dollar access? That's what he's talking about. The access to the spending dollar of the company.
I think
not just the marketing person or the A&R.
That's when you got to talk directly. And that's why.
Spending person, the person that says, we put money in Black, that's why I don't let them. That's why I'm going to start using culture instead of street, and the people following me just got to know that.
Yeah.
Because I don't need them to pigeonhole me in anything outside of information and business, man.
Yeah.
And it can come off a way because I look just like those guys, but I talk a little different. And long as I can keep delivering, I'll be all right. But here's what I'm saying. I think that our culture is they still doing magic tricks on each other. It's like, who has that kind of relationship with a brand that can direct dollars to Black podcasts?
And this is what I told one of my friends this before, like even a social media or like the financial literacy world, like courses.
Because there's a lot of Black initiatives here.
What we've done, as far as when I say we as a collective,
right,
for the most part, right, is hustling on the corner. You make money hustling on the corner and you could become hood rich, but you're never gonna become wealthy. Pablo Escobar never seen a corner. He never saw Brooklyn. He never went to the Bronx. He never went to your neighborhood. He never went to Little Haiti. He never even went to America, period. Billionaire. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you got to have enough vision to even know that there's another level. Most people going to get satisfied on the corner, right? And they're going to drive a nice car. They're going to have somewhere to live. And that's sustainable for them, right? And now you end up fighting with the other person on the next corner.
Right.
And it's just the infighting amongst each other. And nobody's ever able to scale. The only way that we can scale, going back to InvestFest with Diddy, is collective.
That's
Together.
true. And you know what?
That's why the sharing is important.
Right. And also with the street thing, the reason why I have to shed that skin, I've got too far now, right? That was for y'all to know you can make it up to that point now.
Right.
Y'all just got to keep up. This is bigger than that.
So what you're speaking about is what we see in music, but it's not accepted.
Right.
And that's growth.
Right. And see, for me, they got accepted. I'm pushing up the game on their ass. I'm pushing up a game.
As soon as we see our artists actually have growth inside of themselves as a person, but inside of the music, we don't want to listen. It's like we watch Jeezy.
Yeah, we want to crash out.
We watch the Snowman graduate to somebody who's talking about financial literacy and buying real estate.
Yeah.
But nobody's listening to it at the same rate.
Right. That's facts. But here's another reason why I want to stay away from that street thing. And I think you got the right. Y'all found, this is good. Y'all figured it out. And this is what I've been able to do too, but I haven't spread my wings as much as y'all have, right? Is that even when Coach K, shout out to my brother Coach, even when he talked to Mike about my podcast, he say, nah, he talked that business shit though. Like we talking Coach K, QCP. When they introduce me as a podcaster, it ain't just like, hey, yo, bro, be on some entertainment shit, on some like, that gossip be bullshit. They be saying now, Loon be on some business.
Yeah.
And they doing business at one of the highest levels in this industry. But another reason why I got to shed that skin is because I have to be a part of those initiative-based programs to get off the corner. And the messy shit is on the corner.
It's a thinnest slice strategy. This is something that is vitally important for Black people to understand, but especially Black people in media. The thinnest slice strategy. We have an interesting dynamic that no other group of people have to deal with. As a Black person, you have to be culturally relevant enough and edgy enough for people to not call you corny. Once they call you corny, you're in the Russell Wilson bucket and you going for it.
Shout out to
But
Russ.
you also have to be safe enough so that corporate feels comfortable. You can go on NBC. And I think that's what we've been able to do, right? We've been culturally relevant enough to be accepted in any neighborhood in America. Like, these is our guys, the barbershop conversation. Now they cool dudes. But we also are straight enough to, you see us on Bloomberg, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
See us
you're not surprised by that.
Right. And that's what I got to make sure to keep implementing in my game, because I think I've got big enough now that other podcasters probably understand we can't stomp him out. He's good at this. He may be all right. Like, he going to swim to the bank. Even if we blow the boat up, he going to swim to the bank. Right. And I think that they'll try to trick me into being on the corner like that. And I got to be conscious of saying, no. This is business at the end of the day, brother. And so even when I talk to you, it's going to be about business. And I ain't going to say your name, but I'm going to talk to you. And you know I'm talking to you because you know the level of business I'm talking about. Even if the people under you, beside you, next to you, in your ear, on your phone, if they don't know, you and I know what's going on.
So
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
Let's talk about this, right? So you started this independent, but you are now with Black Effect, and shout out to the whole Black Effect team.
Charlamagne,
Dolly, Nicole, y'all over there.
Love.
What made you decide this is the time, this is the partner I should be with?
Charlamagne has a proven track record, right? I've seen Nori go through Charlamagne. I've seen you guys partner with 85, partner with.
Yep.
There's not another podcast network that I know of, especially Black, really anyone that has that kind of history in developing and help developing, right? Because we all know we got to work on our own. But they're like literally in position where if you do a little something, we do a little something, and it look good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's how business is ran. One hand wash the other, both wash the face. What I've also learned about this business from my side, because I didn't sell my show, I come into this and I'm doing business as partners, is that I gotta focus on making my shots. Charlemagne has been somebody that said Loon gonna be a big in this game. Like everybody we ran across, Detavio at Revolt, he's say to anybody that's bumped into me on this level, say, yo, podcasting, if it die out, he gonna be all right, you know? And I think the spirit of him manifested in me, right? Where I can feel that he feels that way, right? And I think with that, it keeps me even like digging, you know? But I'm gonna dig anyway, but he's somebody I've watched and looked up to. But I've also know this, a pass ain't an assist without a made shot. And so the only reason Charlemagne is in a position to say he got assists is because the people he's been passing it to has made the shots. There's been people he passed it to that didn't make the shot, that they can't call that assist, they call that a pass. If one thing the boy gonna do is pass it, but all of those won't manifest into assists unless you make the shot. And like we just was talking about in regards to guests, understanding ads, CPMs, bringing shit to the table, like with live event sponsorships, I do that shit on my own. Mm-hmm. That's value that I possess because I understand the market, and I'm just trying to make my shots, bro.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, partnerships is something that's extremely beneficial in helping a show grow, a brand grow, really. Yeah. And that's something that we've done, whether it's with Charlemagne, Black Effect, when we with them, that helped. Yeah. iHeart, the situation, it helped. You know, you getting airplay, you going on a Breakfast Club, like it doesn't hurt. Nah. It helps. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
then Charlemagne is Charlemagne. Yeah.
And he's stamping it.
Like he's established, bro, in all markets. There's not a market that he can't pop up in himself and do something in, you know?
So Revolt, that's another situation.
Shout out Revolt.
That helps, right? Yeah. From a variety of different standpoints of we meet people that we might interview on assets over liabilities. Now that's a relationship.
Yes.
Ari Fletcher. Now she come to InvestFest because we met her through that channel, right?
And Revolt has y'all in a unique situation where we can tell that, again, the way I look at Charlemagne and how he feels about what I'm doing is like, the company's invested in this EYL show they got going on.
And it's something that you might not. Yeah. Diddy doesn't happen if the Revolt thing doesn't happen.
Right.
So this is something that we didn't plan for that to happen, but this is what happens when you have an organic, real working relationship over the course of 3 years. Now the benefits and that Diddy thing benefited a lot of people in the ecosystem that have nothing to do with Revolt.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
At the time, he might didn't even really want to talk then. All that Deleon shit going on. Yeah. Like, that's a unique time, but they're my guys. And I know again, when Broadway manager reached out to me, and this is why I'm trying to tell people about my brand, don't let these folk confuse you. Broadway manager reached out to me. He said, bro, don't even like doing podcasts, but the shit you talking about, I gotta get bro on there. And so that's what I'm saying about value in the space. Did he view y'all and know, hey, it's something with that financial thing they're doing. This is bigger than. If he wouldn't have came had there been a just podcast. He wouldn't have came. Any interview. It could have been any interview he wouldn't have came. It was for black folk financial, so I gotta show up. I can't bail out. You know what I'm saying? And so when you look at that, you say it's principle involved, and people gotta look at your brand and see principle next to your mission statement. And if it ain't that, they'll get you out there on the corner, like you said, and you'll be hustling and arguing and fighting and all that.
And then also another thing that Ross said is like I said, we got a bunch of relationships, United Masters, all of these people. Ross said something one time where he was like, people that's on Rap Snacks, he's like, if you're not promoting your brand every day, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
You got to promote. A lot of times people was like, all right, you know, I'm just gonna get a bag from this. It's a selfish standpoint. Yeah. I don't really got no love for these people. I'm just gonna get their check. Like, I'll promote stuff for free because I understand the value and I'm helping you. It's the law of reciprocity.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always about, oh, you gotta pay me to do this, you gotta pay me to do this, or
Nah, like, that's what I don't like either. Like with Baby now. You know, Baby gave me the rollout interview when he came out with It's Only Me, like out of nowhere. Yo, whatever they do, man, it's nothing. Said and them got the million clothing brand. Yo, shoot that to the city, put it in the store. I got a dude got stole. Like, You know, you got to do something to get something. That's how this game is. Like,
But people don't understand that though.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that.
This is an interesting dynamic, right? Because what you're talking about with Diddy, the reason that he's able to do it is because a platform's been created that he felt that was responsible enough to do it on. A couple of things come with that, right? If he does it, it also puts the rest of the community on notice that if you're about business and you're about uplifting our community, why aren't you here?
exactly.
So I want to talk to you because you've gone from being a spectator to now being the general, right? You're coaching the game
Yes.
and becoming a platform where people can come to. How's that dynamic now for you, right? Because it was a solo thing and now I got some guests and people, I got to get them on there.
Yeah.
But it's not everybody can't make it.
Nah. What I think is, for me, it's a blessing. For me, I'm honored. Because a lot of these guys, I feel like I want to give some game to, and I want to hear their story. I want to learn from them what's going on. I think the conversation we have, it always lends itself to direction for these young boys. Like when they sit with me, man, they just get game. It's like I'm oozing shit for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? They appreciate it, bro. Like, no matter if backstage, wherever we at, it's just they appreciate the game I give. And like, I couldn't be more happier to be someone that's a general for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Cause these guys, athletes, you've seen athletes on my shit, rappers, you've seen CIA guys, you've seen a list of different individuals on the show because I'm able to go in these different rooms and bring stuff out of them. And I think that's a skill set a lot of people can't position themselves with too. Is like, yo, you can't talk to Diddy and Robert Smith and get something from them. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to extract things after this guy been talked to for 23,000 times. Now he come to sit with me and it's still a fire conversation. You know, and so I just think I live in a very unique room with this conversation thing. It's like, it's something there. That's why I got to figure out why it works, because it's not structured. It's just me. I'm just being me and it's working. But it's like you got to put some kind of structure with it so that you know what you're doing when it's time to do it.
Are there too many podcasters out there?
Yeah,
Too many?
too many podcasters. Yeah, it's a lot of, I call them Tubi podcasts.
Tubi.
Yeah, it's a lot of Tubi podcasts. They don't even know the space is dying and they just not cranking off and they're shooting at everybody. It's a lot going on. It's just saying, yo, that's not podcast. They've tricked you guys. Listen, if you're gonna follow people, follow the guys that actually have done it without the built-in fan base, especially if you come in without a built-in fan base. What kind of logic are you guys using following rappers that come in with rap fan base saying, you're the podcast I'm gonna build my shit off of? You dig what I'm saying? I'm saying common sense, no disrespect, common sense. Build this thing. We've been able to build this in a very unique way. This is where your eyes need to be at in regards to structure.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I listen to what needs to be listened to. I used to listen to everything, but everything is too much now.
Yeah.
They've smeared this thing. It's no longer even information anywhere in this shit except in little crevices and corners of black podcasts, and everything else is bullshit, noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I dip my hand in the noise sometimes. Fuck, you know, you old, and I come on back over here to the business.
Yeah.
But they've turned it into something that's unattractive even for me, because I can't distinguish what's happening. I'm always trying to get over here and say, hey, ain't no business. What y'all doing? How Aiden Ross? Okay, here's something I said. Black people were twitching. Academics happen to be one of the first Twitch people. Streamers.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused how Aiden Ross and them come after him and then capture the business side of this. This to me says we got to do something. Like we had that first. We had the audience. We had the structure. We had that first. This ain't hate. This is saying opportunity missed. Yo, people following you, so they getting on their Twitch. And they getting thousands of people and ain't no business around it because you ain't done. It's like, right? So if they watch me, like Gil and Wallow, they stopping with them ads and they're distinguishing in the market. Yo, the ad thing is where I'm getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you not doing it that way, you better figure out how EYL getting paid, how Loon get. You got to do it how the people getting paid. You following people that ain't even getting paid for doing what they're doing. They're just getting paid for holding their position. That's why they won't open the door. Because I don't have no value outside of being in this position. if I get up out of this position and stand over there, there's nothing else with me. And this ain't to no particular person because this is business. I'm talking to the market, right? This ain't about no particular person, even though they gonna say it is. I'm telling you, this is market talk, right? When people come behind you, they gonna say, I'm gonna do it like such and such doing it. But they don't know the whole time they've been doing that for 4 years and ain't made nothing doing that. And then if they did make some, it ain't a re-up thing. I need to follow the niggas that's re-ing up their deals, not getting a deal. It's like getting some money and keeping some money. These are different techniques. I need to follow the guys that's keeping the deals, that's making the relationships, that's building the brands, not the guys that, he got a deal, follow him.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
And most of the people, like going back to the monetization thing, most people are not going to be able to monetize off of ads. So like to really like live sufficiently.
Right.
So it's like,
why do you think that?
It's just not enough money in it. And I feel like,
so what I'm saying, ain't ads transition to like Super Bowl? It's a lot of money in ads now.
Most people are not going to make a
to that
lot of
level.
money.
Yeah.
But they
you
don't have
can't-
the audience.
Right,
numbers.
But you can't make money.
Okay.
So I feel like ads should always be a add-on, but you got to be creative to find ways to make money outside of that. That comes with creativity. That could come with merch. That can come with live shows. That can come from
stuff like
the
that.
Patreon. That can come from a service, subscription-based model. If you got an app or whatever you got, going on, that's up to you to figure out your own business model, what you have to offer. But how can I make money outside of this that I control? Because you can't control ads either.
Right.
You might have an ad and then they
pull.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like you got an audience, you got to make sure that you're maximizing that audience. I think a lot of podcasters don't fully understand that either.
Yeah, because again, they okay with just the audience. Here's another thing. Getting fame almost cripples you, especially when you get it too early, right? When you're still in the process, because fame and notoriety makes you not do what needs to be done to get to that next level, right? So say I need to be out there selling shirts or selling CDs or selling something that will help my business. The minute they put me on Breakfast Club, I think I can't stand out there and sell that no more. Ain't no way right? So it cripples you. Mm-hmm. It's like it says, damn, okay, now I'm too big to do that. Well, you have to do that to get there.
But then also everybody's not a business person too. So most people coming in, they just coming in just from a media standpoint of I just want to talk. And then I'm gonna let somebody pay me. It's like an artist, right? Most recording artists just want to rap and then they want to get paid for rapping. That's why I said, like, you signed a deal. It's not a bad deal because you're not a business person. So you need somebody to take care of you and to feed you. And you need somebody to schedule your shows and to make sure you're here and all of that. But the other way around, like this is just a loudspeaker.
Can you compete with $5 million a year?
Can we compete with $5 million a year? We compete with anything.
Perhaps.
So I'm saying,
but
okay,
it's a loud.
EYL take a 3-year, 30, 40, $50 million deal, 40 million, 3-year, $40 million joint.
I mean,
3-year, $20 million joint.
So if we get to maintain ownership of our show, yeah, why not? Because I
think every big podcast is maintaining ownership, ain't they?
Are they?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What's your idea on that?
I don't think they are.
Are they?
Seriously?
I mean, we don't know though, right?
I mean, because
we don't know.
People are not sharing the information. And then again, people don't know. They see the money. That's the carrot. How do I get it? Oh, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah. How long do I have to license the show? Perpetuity. I don't even know what that means. All right, sign it. Boom.
Not no big shows.
But I'm not saying.
I don't think no big show operate.
Whoa.
You think so?
I don't know though.
Of course we don't know. I'm saying
we may have
based on
heard
what we believe people to know about business.
No, we may have heard that.
Wow.
We may have.
Look,
wow.
There's some big.
There's
some big shows that I know that don't own their show without even signing a big contract. They gave up the rights to their show. So it's a lot of
some big shows in our culture.
Yeah.
Or just
no, in our culture.
Wow, God, y'all crushing me.
We'll talk off air. The thing about it is that, once again, going back to information, right?
Wow. So I didn't think they were going out saying
so
like
I'm
not going out. You're not going. You starting like that.
I'm not one of those people that's saying like it's bad to sign, because like I said,
it's bad to give away rights especially if you have some sort of built-in. Okay, so people out there in TV land, these companies won't give you any money unless they see some money there. So if they say, I want your show, right? They usually only offer those kind of deals to people with the built-in fan base like we're talking about. They don't offer those to some Joe Blow off the street 9 times out of 10.
No.
So you're coming with a built-in fan base and you don't even have faith in it, but you have faith in them to activate it?
Because once again, they have the relationships. They Pablo, right?
This is the easy one. I just take the money. Y'all take care of that. I'll do this.
Wow.
They go from owners to talent very quickly.
But like I said, signing, because Nipsey Hussle doesn't become Nipsey Hussle if he doesn't sign to a major label.
No, yeah, some points you gotta make a
decision, and you gotta understand that you can only go so far by yourself.
So y'all saying y'all won't sign?
No, we did sign. We signed to iHeart for 2 years.
But I'm saying if somebody want action on video, action on the whole
everything's
shebang,
negotiable.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't be emotionally tied to anything.
So y'all will take a 360, invest, fest, and all.
We could sell
They
it.
want in on everything.
If it's enough money, we can sell it.
What's enough money?
You have to think about it.
Good question.
Did you hear last week's Market Monday?
but I mean, but that's real talk though, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that says otherwise is lying to you. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Somebody come with a check for $1 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, for sure.
What's the valuation of this company? It's $3 billion. Okay, well, guys, we've earned our leisure.
Right. For sure.
It's been real.
What about, okay, so what is an ad worth? What is an ad worth on a show that's getting 2 million downloads? Like what is the gauge? Like what's the gauge for a young podcaster or anybody watching? What are we dealing with out here? What's the gauge?
I think you said it. We were at a show and they were talking about streaming. They're like, well, what's one stream worth? And nobody can give an answer.
Right.
And so what's one download worth? That's a person.
But just talk about like
And it's a long form.
So
industry standard,
that's
like
what the industry standard
That's
right
what
now.
I'm asking.
They'll tell you the CPM rate. They'll tell you like it's $17.50 or the average
premium.
the premium is $50 per every thousand.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe in that. And so I said, look, we'll create our own market. I'm going to tell you the number is $15,000 an episode. Now you could take that or you could leave it. But here's our numbers. We're not doing the CPM thing. Well, most people, they're looking at the value that we add. They know that we're going to be consistent.
So
They know,
y'all don't even do the keep going. I'm sorry. I'm cutting.
yeah. No, so that I stopped. We just stopped doing the CPM. We said, like, this is what we're worth. So if our time is 15, all right, well, then let's see if we go up to 4 million. All right, well, now I'm telling you it's 25. And so I'm going in with it, not with the traditional manner of this is my CPM, and if I hit this number based on that, then I actually get paid this. No, because I know when you go to corporate, you're not telling them that.
And that's the game they try to lock young podcasters.
Of course.
the game is this though, because
And trust me, and let me say this for the onlookers. I play both games, right? Even with Slim and Huskies and other brands. Again, I have my own relationships with brands, my bookie, other brands where I negotiate things on my own. But that they do play that CPM game. On the other side, on the iHeart side, is a very CPM driving game.
here's the
Machine.
Here's the thing with
How did y'all? Okay, go
Here's
ahead.
the thing with life in general, especially when it comes to business. The more math that's required, the higher probability that you're going to get screwed. Right? Because this is the shit that they do. They do a CPM. Most people don't even know what a CPM is, right?
Clicks
And it's
per-
like, all right, if you put an ad at the beginning of the episode, that's the most valuable. Middle of the episode we call mid-roll.
Mid-roll.
That's the second most valuable.
The
And then
first one is pre-roll.
Yeah,
pre-roll. Pre-roll. Oh, let me just finish.
Hold on, because I want you to be very clear. In terms of money, the mid-roll is going to be the most valuable, right? Because the pre-roll is only 10 seconds. They want your mid-roll because they know that's going to be 60 seconds. They could put 2 there. Sometimes they'll put 4. Now your audience is going to say, well, there's a lot of ads here. Well, it's a business.
Yeah.
So the 10-second, they'll say, all right, well, let's say the mid-roll is 20,000, they'll say, well, we'll give you 8,000 for a pre-roll because it's shorter. All right, good.
So, and then it's like, all right, so you get paid $17.50 per CPM per 1,000 downloads, and then
$17?
$17.50 per every 1,000.
per 1,000, right?
So by the time you get 20,000 downloads,
No, but let's
you made $100.
No, so all right, so 17.50, but then it's but then it's a 70-30 split, right? It's a 70-30 split, 70 your way, 30 their way, and then it's for every 1,000, right? So if you do 100,000 downloads for that episode, how much money did you make? Exactly. So that's the whole point.
$1,000.
It's confusing. I never really got past basic algebra in school. So if I got to use a calculator, it's too complicated.
You needed to be 20 grand an episode.
$20,000 an episode.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
it. I can do that.
I'm glad y'all see this game y'all put in. This good game.
$20,000 an episode for a 60-second ad. We can all understand that.
Right. It's very simple.
It's very simple.
That CPM is trickery, what you saying.
It's tricky.
And it sounds like
the more-
Here's the other part, right? How do you know how many downloads? Because the machine gonna have the download meter, and they're gonna tell you, oh, you didn't meet the metric.
But you can track it too. They got third party shit, but you don't know how accurate that is.
Now you got to get a forensic accountant once again.
Exactly.
The more complicated the math, the higher probability you have of getting screwed. They keep it complicated on purpose. Okay, you get a minimum guarantee, but you gotta hit 1 million. You gotta hit this. Well, who's counting these numbers? Well, we have our firm in the back, and they're counting these numbers, and then they're gonna give you a report. And then they're gonna
Wait.
You don't even know what the hell happened.
What happens when
Then
you?
it's what's the stream versus a download?
What happens when you don't hit the minimum guarantee?
Then this is what happens when you don't hit it?
They trying to
You don't
recoup.
get your money. Yeah.
No, we got to recoup this money. Right now, it's the rap game. Like
So you in the red.
you in the red. Like we're not paying you that because we got to get the money because the first season you didn't really make that. Well, how? We're looking at the metrics every month. We go.
All this shit is a question mark. Even YouTube, nobody really knows. It's just YouTube is just too big and too powerful where you don't really have an option, right? It's like, what can you do? Nobody knows how much money is actually coming into YouTube, how they're distributing it. Because some shit we might get paid $35 for, some shit we might get paid $4 for, depending on the content, depending on the time of day, depending on who's on it. And then it's
constantly changing.
Okay,
And then it can be affected by things outside of our means.
And
we can wake up tomorrow and it can be a
But they do RPM when you do the visuals, right? So the CPM is what they're going to pay the brand, right? But they're going to take their percentage. And so what you get broken down to is the RPM. And so the CPM might be $25, right? But by the time it gets to you, it's $14.25. And that's what you're going to get paid. And it's like, wait, what?
What happened? Yeah, it's like
the magic
transaction
tricks.
fee.
Like
the transaction fee at Ticketmaster and all that.
So I would recommend for any podcaster, if you're trying to structure your deal with a company, you just say, this is what I want to get paid per episode.
That makes
and then
sense.
negotiate based off of that. Because once you get in the CPM game and once you get in, okay, you got to hit this certain amount of numbers and a certain amount of downloads and then you're going to be doing forever.
That makes sense too. That CPM, it make the water blurry. But it's people that swear by that CPM game.
Because it's traditional model. This is what they set as a standard for the industry. But there is no industry standard because we don't know anything that's happening in the industry.
I'm playing both games. Like I'm playing subscription model game. I'm playing live show, sponsorship, ad game. You know what I'm saying?
How's that? How's Patreon working out for you?
It's doing good, man.
It
It's because I haven't been as... See, when I took the deal, I come from behind the paywall and say, hold on, I got to focus on get some shit out there, help brand build while and it fluctuate, kind of went down. Because you got to be, this is one thing I do give Joe credit for. You have to be diligent fucking with them paying customers. It's a different relationship, right? See, you have people that have relationship with their customer, all they ever gonna fuck with you is for the free. They don't even fuck with you outside of the free. That's what I'm saying. When you able to pull people behind the curtain, come on back here where it costs you something. You got to be diligent in feeding them.
And they want it. There's an expectation from them.
Paying. Just think about this. They paying me $25, $10, some people $50.
Yeah.
They give Netflix 12 and they load them down.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this some of the best quality shit that you ever gonna see.
But here's the other part of that. At some point, there's going to be a comment or there's going to be an email that's going to come to you and it's going to be like completely like tearing like the company down because you didn't put out an episode 1 week and in your mind you're like, this is worth $25. $25 and this is what I'm dealing with.
Wow.
And so like we got to deal with that. Like people don't talk about that side, but that's part of it.
They don't even, the mental strain of even the comment section when this shit costs money to run and you ain't. A lot of times it's the freebies that do all of that.
Another thing too, you know how I said if it's more the more math, the higher probability you get screwed? In contracts, the more words you don't understand, there's a higher probability that you'll get screwed.
Right.
Everybody knows how to read, right? There's no need to have, if there's more than 10 words that you're not familiar with, you're gonna get screwed.
I told you, remember I was telling you that It's all about language.
because
in
they're
our
doing
first
this shit on
episode.
purpose.
Yeah.
It's a magic trick, right? If I could do enough weird shit and put shit, and then it's like, if I can make a contract, like Kanye said, a contract should be 1 page.
Yes, and we billion-dollar dude.
He don't even
it's a
accept
billion-dollar dude.
But he wasn't even accepting contracts if they were longer than
Why
that.
do we have contracts for 50 pages, 25 pages? You got the best. Something's gonna get lost.
Yeah, and why do they do that to us? Why we do that to? But I ain't gonna even say that's just us. That's just business.
That's business because once again,
It's
the
capitalism.
longer I can draw you out, I have a higher probability I could just stick something in there. If it's 25 pages,
Pause.
if it's 25 pages, it's a high probability that something is
They
going to be
miss something, overlook
Of course.
something.
You can have the
Yes.
best lawyer. They might not be able to read every single thing, right? And you're gonna.
Right.
So that's another thing for people. Try to make any agreement as easy to understand as possible. And once it starts to become extremely complicated, just have the lawyer read it 3 times and explain to
And
you
interpret it.
and
Yeah.
interpret it to you, because there's going to be things in there that you're not familiar with, or they'll trick you. They have one shit that'll be like, okay, you sign this deal for 5 years, and then it's like with the reversal of the perpetuity that comes, and like the fuck, like, you know what I'm saying?
I sign up for this shit.
They'll just reword
But
it.
I would, for me, perpetuity shit, I send, even though it's in the contract, I make sure that's like,
No,
that's a red
what
flag.
we take that out.
It's
a red
Every
flag.
contract we take it out.
Yeah, let's
It's
get
the
that
first
out.
word we're looking
Yeah,
for.
get that out
that
of
cannot be there. But I also suggest, if they're going to sign it, people, yes, give it to your lawyer, but you should read it.
yeah, I read mine.
Yo, because what'll happen is you'll come into these meetings and people will be telling you things about your contract that you know for certain are not true.
Yes, and they'll run that on you.
And they'll run it, and they're
Yeah.
like, I know for sure it's not true. Then I got to go back to the lawyer. We got to have a conversation. It's not true. So, yes, do your due diligence, give it to your lawyers, but you should read it. And if you don't understand it, that's what you pay the lawyer for.
What you have
Have
is
me
the
understand
lawyer,
it.
because most people
Have her explain it.
Most people
Or
are
him.
not. Most people are. They're not gonna read it, or even if they read it, they're not gonna have the reading comprehension to fully understand
Right.
it. You have your lawyer go through it with you,
Yes.
paragraph by paragraph. She reads it, or he or she reads it. So, and then it's like, okay, wait. What's
Yeah,
this
that's
mean?
how mine do.
What's
yeah.
this mean?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
because I
saying?
would take it. I take certain time. Hey, that ain't cool. And then certain money, like the first couple deals I got was so high, I knew they was trying to get the show. Cause I'm like, it's no way that this money is just too much money, right? We ain't even moved yet. But I know people know I'm cold with this shit, but it's business at the end of the day. So I'm saying, damn, this kind of money is. But yeah, I believe that you got to be somebody to understand this space. If you don't get it, bro, is it even a lot of value in signing?
For relationships, yeah, I think there's value.
yes.
You can make some money, but I think the biggest thing for us, like any deal we saw, the money was always the secondary part. The relationships provided more opportunities than any money that we
Are
got.
y'all signed now?
We signed to ourselves.
Yeah.
EYL
Are
Network.
you looking to sign?
No, we're looking to grow EYL Network, and looking to sign other shows for that.
What minimum guarantees y'all giving out?
We're working on them. We're working on them.
So I'm saying, well, y'all
You
take.
know what Wayne said, right?
What?
He was like, I don't need a G pass no more. I'm past that. I'm passing them out now.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
But
you gotta know when to switch it.
but it's always room to work with other people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never a situation where you can't never get to a point where you feel like you too big to work with other
Have
people.
the big companies approached y'all, like the Barstools or the Spotify's or the
We had
Apples?
none of those companies. We had a few conversations when our last deal was up, but
Why not though? Because I see y'all on business charts all the time. Like, why aren't they? Why do you think that Apple, Spotify, some of those?
Talk to that camera.
Yeah, why? You know what I'm saying, I mean, y'all got the numbers, the relationships. Why do y'all think that no deals have been presented?
you never know. I feel like the content that we produce is a little different, right? So it's still a niche audience. Even though we have been able to have a massive amount of success, it's still a relative niche audience. People still don't fully understand it. Black guys talking about money and podcasting and investing is kind of different. It's easier to kind of just talk about music, talk about pop culture.
But I thought business for me. I'm more so saying, ain't business numbers based?
It is numbers based, but once again, now you have to go into a situation where this goes back to
It's easier dealing with rappers and rap and shit.
this
though.
goes back to the race card, right? as a corporate person, they're used to dealing with rappers.
Yeah.
It's familiar.
Yeah.
They're used to dealing with sports. It's
then
familiar.
it's 100 years worth trickery involved.
Right. They still don't. They still haven't wrapped their. So the numbers can be supporting it, but they still haven't fully even gotten it themselves yet. So if they don't get it themselves, then they're not going.
You still dealing. You're not dealing with the highest level of execs. You're still dealing with people that within the corporation that are saying this is value. You should know these guys are. Now they got to prove it to the higher ups.
Right.
The higher ups got to prove it to the next.
See, I don't like all that proving shit.
Yeah.
Like, even, you know how big of an artist Baby and certain niggas is? Like, my relationship be with them. Like, a nigga like, you know, certain people, my relationship with them, because I ain't gonna lie, all that red tape, it be pissing me off.
The key is to always go directly to the source once again.
Yeah. And let's talk about guests too.
Guests?
Yeah.
Like having guests on the show?
Yeah, or just this kind of shit. Yeah.
Directly to the source. We was trying to get Diddy for 3 years. Trying to get him out of InvestFest last year, and we know all of the people, and these is great people.
And we're on Revolt.
These are the people that's like, you should know.
Yeah.
The closest people to him. But it didn't happen. When we met him, and now we developed a relationship with him, when I hit him directly, it happened within 10 seconds.
Why is that the case, though?
Because you gotta go directly to the. Because once again, you said something that was key. Sometimes people have good intentions. They don't know how to position it to the other person.
And
right?
their relationship is on the line.
It's a game of telephone.
Right.
So it's like me and you got a great relationship, right? And let's say I'm trying to get whoever rapper for you, right? And I know them. And I'm calling, I'm like, yeah, you know, I got this podcast I want you to get on. Loon, you know, he's from Tennessee, da-da-da-da. I could be explaining it. I think I'm doing a good job. But you hear it, you be like, that's actually a terrible job.
Right.
You didn't sell it good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I think a lot of times happens, where it's like it gets watered down, the different channels that it goes through.
Yeah, now they just position it. It's a new podcast.
Yeah.
When it get weird,
But
hold on, man.
he himself has said that. Because even when we had it at InvestFest, when he got there, the time that he was supposed to be on was a little earlier than he had probably wanted to be on. But the message to us was he had to leave. And when we relayed the message to him, he said, who told you that? Anytime y'all need something, y'all talk to me directly. Nobody else talks to me.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know, right? But had we gone with what was been told to us, it would have been a different situation.
But here's how you get guests. I want to answer your question. I want to provide as much game as possible. Here's how you get guests for all the podcasters out there. You get yourself hot enough where people want to come on your show, and then you have to be in every environment where those people are. So the Dame Dash, for instance, right? We wanted to get Dame early on, but it didn't make sense. Looking back on it now, I understand why it didn't make sense. We didn't have enough followers. It was just, you know what I'm saying? But once we got to a point, it's the law of inertia. When you got to get to the point where once you get the ball rolling, every single person is going to want to rock with you. And then they're going to spread the word, and they're going to tell this person, yo, you got to rock with this person. So don't worry about getting a guest. Worry about getting hot. Worry about getting hot.
That's me. I got more numbers on my phone than I can even
worry about getting hot.
out.
And then, like I said, and then you got to do the art of networking. A lot of people don't like networking. A lot of people just want to stay home because the sacrifices. You're going to miss your kid's game. You're going to miss dinner. You're going to stay in some bullshit hotel. But these are the places that you got to be. And we've been everywhere. We've been from overseas to, you know,
people
Ohio
they to they'll say
Miami to everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's where you got to go, because it's like, there's nothing like face-to-face interaction. That's how we met. Yeah. Like, you can hit somebody, you know.
A lot of niggas,
If you see somebody in person, that changes the dynamic.
Yeah, it does. 100%.
It gets misconstrued because people see us out everywhere. But they just seem like these guys are having a good time. No, we're actually trying to meet the people who are in these spaces. So when we talk about being super intentional about the rooms we're in, we got to live by example.
Yeah, man. And so, you know, when I was at InvestFest, and I think there's something to be said about the middleman and shit. There's even more conversation now, because I think in this game, the interesting dynamic is those same people can make money with those people, right? They'll take money to them. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you need to book Baby, or you need to book the Baby or something. There's people around him that if the number is right, they'll present that to him. But it's other things that maybe they don't present. And I just wonder why. How don't you know how to...
Because they don't see the value in it, or that's the problem. You gotta not only... So let's say you're trying to get the Baby, right, at your show.
Yeah.
He has to see enough value in it to come. That's one person.
Yeah.
Now let's say you're trying to go through two levels. You try and get his road manager to convince his manager to convince him.
I see what
Now the road manager in his brain, his human nature, you got to convince him. He got
to convince him.
Now the manager got to see enough value in it. But you know what I'm saying? It's too many different obstacles.
This good game. This is so much. This is extremely good game because it ain't that they don't fuck with you. It's that it's too much convincing going on.
Exactly.
And when he see it himself, if it's that thing, he gonna say, "Hey, get me in touch with Home, man. Home kicking that shit."
But that,
or if he see you,
there's a piece of it inside of that as well. And we always talk about attacking the perimeter of the person you're trying to get to. Right. So the fact that you need to know who the road manager is.
Exactly.
You might need to know who the tour manager is because you're going to impress them with the value that you're adding. By the time it gets to the person, they go, "Oh yeah, oh you rocking with them? Yeah, I heard about them too.
I saw them.
I saw them too." We've done that plenty of times, and we keep telling people you should do that. Yeah. Even now, when we came to Atlanta, some of the security that's here, "Hey, you guys in town? I got this person you should meet." Or if y'all coming to the show, I'll bring y'all backstage. Yeah. I'll bring you right to the person. Yeah. Right? So these things happen. We're telling it. And I think the beauty about what we're doing is that we're telling people and we're doing it in real time and they get to see it executed in real time. Yeah. Whereas in the past, it was you heard these stories, these myths of how these things transpire. Now, this happened on Tuesday. We're telling you Tuesday night. This happened.
That's what I'm saying. And then for me, all of my guests have reached out to me. You know, it's been basically like you said, again, respect the discovery process. You got to respect that discovery process. And sometimes it take a while for it get to a point where, because they know really the whole game know my face at this point. They be seeing me places. Man, I know it be the most mega famous motherfucker. You be like, I know your face, man. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's baby though. Like, that nigga, that little baby motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But it's always those. What is that for y'all? What's that standalone? Is it the Harvey one?
Definitely.
Yeah, the Harvey one for sure.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's
the most popular one that we had. Rick Ross was another one that people identify with a lot. But then like you said, just social media, like even people don't know your name. Yeah, they seen a clip or they seen somebody shared it to them, their friends, or somebody put it in a group chat. You know, they've watched something on YouTube. It's like, you become identifiable. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That also goes back to Keys. He does a great job of branding himself. Where I tell him all the time, like, it's brilliant. I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but he's wore that crown every day for 5 years.
That was hard.
You could see him from a mile away. Even if you don't know his name, the crown, it's like, oh, that's bro. That's the dude.
And when you see somebody with it, you know they with him.
Right. You know, and he moved like, he moved militant.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask y'all this. Upselling. You know, we was at InvestFest, conversation came up about upselling. I think that is a very slippery slope for you guys. How do y'all feel about upselling?
I feel like anytime you upsell, it has to be tastefully done. I feel like the best upsell in history is Disney. And like when you go to Disney World, like, you know, after you get off the ride, you gotta pay attention to everything. You got two types of people in this world. I was always like this. I remember we went to a Jay-Z concert. A girl was like, I was in the top level.
Can change the light bulb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody's just enjoying the concert. 20,000 people, and I'm looking around. And she's like, why are you looking around? I want to count how many people's in the building. I want to see how much ticket I want to see how many made. I was always like that. Most people are not like that. Most people just enjoying the moment, just having a good time. So when I went to Disneyland, the thing that really impressed me was after they make you go to the gift shop. It's not even an option. After you get out of the ride, the gift shop is there.
You gotta walk through it,
right? You have to get through the gift shop to even exit.
And you got your kid with you who gonna say, "Give me."
Yeah.
And
psychology.
This is the same thing they do in supermarkets. You can't check out without going through the snack line with the magazines and the candy.
And they put you in a position where you want to wait on a line for an hour, or you want to get the fast track. Nobody wants to wait online for an hour, right? So now you're going to pay $200 for the fast track pass to get on the same ride, but now it's VIP to the club, right? It's a bottle service situation. Right. You want to sit on a couch, or you want to wait by the bar.
Right.
Your decision.
Right.
Your decision, right?
Yeah.
So all of that's upselling, right? It's done in a manner where you don't even think about it.
Right.
They don't have
and
to.
we
They
got hardcore guerrilla upselling in black culture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's guerrilla pimping.
It's guerrilla marketing.
Yeah,
It definitely
I don't like
is.
that. You know,
It doesn't. It never felt clean to my soul. I've never been in sales. Like I never came from that, so I don't even entertain. Like I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, but it doesn't feel good. Like watching it doesn't feel
right.
good.
And that's what but see, you guys brand, man, yeah, I think the brand has been safe, but I think it's in a very crazy place because you're like the big boss on the video game. It's like the last one to attack to prove myself that I beat the game. And it's like, even if you don't do nothing, there's Luigi and them headed your way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm wondering how y'all navigate the space when y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's like, cause there's money to be made and there's upselling to be done, right? Like you say with Disney, there is business to be had.
I think marketing, the best marketers in history, you got Apple, you got Nike, there's a variety of different companies, right? You've never felt like you got sold anything.
Right.
You never watched a Nike commercial and they said Black Friday sale, 50% off.
Right.
Like marketing is telling a story, right? Nike has done a great job of telling stories, from the Tiger Woods campaign to the Jordan campaign to LeBron to Kobe, you name it, right? They tell a story. They create scarcity, right? When those Jordans come out, then it's only a limited amount.
Yes.
They could put 1 million pairs out.
If they
it's
want.
a limited amount. They've created a buzz in pop culture. They target the influencers. They've done things strategically. Apple. You go into Apple, it's 30 employees in the store, right? Open architecture, it looks like an art gallery. They revolutionized technology by doing that. No other store was doing that.
Right.
Every other store was, you got shelves, you go and you got, the clerk. Like Apple made it look like you was in an art gallery, an experience. All the colors is white. Everything is so clean. You feel like you want to go to the store. Not that you have to go to the store, right?
It's an experience.
You feel like if you don't have an iPhone, you're the odd man out.
Yes.
They made you feel that way, where it's like cult become culture.
Mm-hmm.
They've created a cult that has become a culture. So I think what we're doing is more of that. It takes longer, right? It takes longer, but now you have a real brand that's going to stand the test of time, as opposed to
What do y'all go from here though?
to the moon.
To the moon.
To the moon.
It's up there.
To the moon. But now I think just listening to Robert Smith, right, just to kind of give you some preview, it's like one of the things he told us is like, you got to have, now it's like, it's about having more intangible products, things that are selling without you physically being there.
Let me paint that picture for you though. He's telling us this at 6:50 in the morning, a.m. on a Friday, right before an interview. Not like calling us. We're on a street corner, about to walk in to do an interview. He's telling us at 6:50 in the morning.
So it's like you can only do so many shows. You can only do so many live events. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you start to scale? How do you become a situation where you're making money in your sleep from different services, products, offerings?
Yeah.
So I think that's the next level for us, is more in that space where we've done a great job of curating content. That's kind of like on autopilot at this point. The live events, we've done a great job with that, and that's still room to scale. But now it's time to take it to another level, and that's going to set another example for people in the culture, right? Where it's like, all right, now we're going to talk real product. Now we're going to talk real services, real, so now it's
global expansion.
Yeah. Because people been hitting me about funnels and all of this shit. Like it's like some of this shit you want to add to your business and some you don't.
If it's not you, it's gonna come across to your audience.
Did y'all hire any kind of ad agency? Have y'all ever read ads like Facebook, Instagram?
We've done that. We've done ads for sure.
See, these kind of things.
But we never grew our business off of ads.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
It's hard to.
Our thing we always grew organically, word of mouth. We've run ads before,
to this day.
But the ads wasn't like the sole catalyst of us becoming successful. The sole catalyst of us becoming successful was creating good content, people sharing the content, and being consistent.
It's I would say the number one ad is the same thing that you seek. The information.
Right.
Every day is information. Every day, you're gonna get information. Every Tuesday, you're gonna get a new episode about a topic. Every Monday, we're gonna be on market. Consistency, value add, information combined. Yeah. It's word. That's how word of mouth becomes the number one thing. We could put Facebook ads and Instagram ads. It doesn't have the same feel to it, right? That's why I said if you're doing something, even like for ClickFunnels, like if it's not unique and it's natural to what you do, your audience gonna feel it. It's gonna feel
it's
gimmicky.
feel funny. Yeah. And what is a ClickFunnels for people who don't know?
So that's what pay behind the wall type situation
Right.
where
But it's like
I
it
get a
starts-
service.
But here's the thing: it's trickery they're telling me, and I'm just giving the game out, right? Whether they care or not. But where it starts free, and so it's a funnel. So what they're literally presenting it like free, but then when it gets you way down here, you got to pay for something.
It's a digitalized upsell.
Okay, cool.
So like that scenario he just gave with Disney.
It's just digital. Okay, cool. So that's what I'm saying, like understanding what that is, because if it's some value at the end of the if it's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, we win. Everybody happy. But the problem is if they travel way down there and pay and it ain't nothing there. That's where the problem is.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So
Well, my brother,
yeah, man.
been a pleasure. Glad we got the chance to get this done, man. Much success to you. What would you like to tell the people before we leave? Any updates, anything that you got coming up, anything?
Yeah, man. Make sure you listen to this Up There podcast, man. Follow me, FOGFO _Looney on all platforms. Patreon.com, it's Up There podcast. I got 2 shows. One where I do the solo by myself. The other one is not behind the paywall. It's free to the public on YouTube. But if you want to see me solo, you got to come behind the paywall. That's my business. That's how we run it. I hope to see y'all there. We provide live show tickets to my Patreon members. We provide live in-studio recordings and a bunch of other things.
Give them the schedule, man. Monday, tell them when we drop.
So we drop audios Monday, video behind the paywall on Monday of the interview. We drop that same video free on YouTube on Wednesday. Then we drop a Patreon exclusive on Thursday. So that's how we do it.
I think I got one final question because I know you do freestyles for the solos. When you have an interview, are we freestyling or is there a level of preparation that goes into that?
There's a level of preparation. I can't read the same way I recite. Like I'm one of them dudes that like if you don't catch it while it's hot, it ain't nothing. Cause if I gotta say it over, it just don't hit the same. It's almost like a comic. But that's where the real skill comes in at. I just did Dr. Umar Johnson and we debated on there about Deion Sanders. And I was pointing out to the crowd, you see how he can get in them pockets because he's taught himself how to rile himself up or how to tone himself. He's taught himself, how to do this. And for me, I just been freestyling. But when I do interviews, there's a level of preparation, but it's just like a bullet point, like getting you into it and I'm out the way.
Okay.
So it may be Earn Your Leisure, Troy, speak to them about being the last person on the video game or something that I just said, which was just off the head. But and it's like they're like the big boss in the video game. And then wherever that takes me, and it's like that may take me, somewhere. So that's how I do for artists and for people because they have a story and they got fans that's gonna come in and tune in.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.